So I'll start with the uh, very basic understanding of journalism. Okay, first, what is journalism? How journalism come into being? You have fair idea about it because you have already read about journalism, right? So it's audible no? For you. It's of you are listening to me. Okay. So when you talk of journalism, how it comes? It comes from the word, Latin word, French word, which journal, right? That means systematic, having a systematic account of day-to-day event. When you say systematic account of day-to-day event, that we could also corroborate as you see the gathering, dissemination, and analyzing of day-to-day event. Okay, that's how we understand, and that's a very simplistic terminology of journalism, but that will hide the very contested concept. It's a contested concept. When you talk about journalism, as I have already told you, that journalism involves the mission, business, and the profession. Okay, and it involves the three legs. These are the three legs, and without the intersection of these three elements, you cannot learn journalism. You cannot prosper in this very professions. I'll say. Okay. Uh, when we talk about different elements, we simply say journalism is also four states, right? So four states happen to be one element, let me tell you. And also we talk of these time and periodicity and discipline of verification. So these are the four main elements of journalism, I could also say. So when we talk about discipline of verification, that is a way to look at journalism from the epistemological angle, because that is the very basic professional norms or craft standard. Discipline of verification, you need to verify the sources, and you need to follow the two sources theory. That is a two sources theory that's covering the both sides of the angle. So that's a very important professional norm. Time specific and periodicity, that is also the relevance, okay, recency of the event. It's a very important. So I'll not be discussing about news values and all, because you all know about news values and how we uh, uh, look after news values when you do a story, how news values are being incorporated. So you know. So I may also discuss in one class, but not today. But timeline and periodicity is the very second element. If I am talking about this three element, and third element is the fourth step. Fourth step is all about holding the state, holding the government accountable. So it is all about being a check on power, being a check on power, and equivalent to the three organs of the government: the executive, legislative, and judiciary. So in that way, we could actually see that it also journalism as a profession lies in three intersection of elements, right, or intersection of three very basic elements, along with the three very basic dimensions: the mission dimension, that is a profession, and the business. You might have also understood journalism a bit from those four theory of state. You might have got it in the very first semester about the four theories of state, have you, or four theories of communication, many times call it. We talk about the liberal democratic theory, that's a libertarian theory. We talk about social democratic theory, right? So along with the Hutchinson report, Hutchins report, and we also have that theory. It is called that we call political economy theory. That's a very critical dimension, and democratic theory. Apart from developmental theories are also there. So we have different, like along with four theories, we have another two theories aligned to it. But they do have a different lens to look at journalism. From free space perspective, free place perspective, we will also try to look at the adversarial angle of the journalism mode, right? So along with these three elements, we will try to look at adversarial angle, means journalism is free from the state power. In that way, it should be free from state propaganda. So journalists will play a mere watchdog role. When you talk about mere watchdog role, so making the power accountable, making the government accountable, holding the government accountable, making them transparent, even claiming itself as a transparent professions, because it also emphasizes equally on transparent, you see, correction. Transparent correction is also very, very important. We admit the mistake. In terms of digital journalism, this transparency is very, very important. Even if there is a mistake, so we'll admit it because of the very, basic principle that publish then filter. That is a kind of the common ethics that we digital journalists usually go by, that you first publish, then you filter. It's driven by this mediation and the speed. And hence, it is important to have a correction ethics and transparent correction ethics, which is very, very important. And that is also aligned to the libertarian ideologies, along with other ideologies that we look into the piece. We also have a social democratic understanding of the journalism, where when we try to find out the professional values of journalism more, and how to use that professional values for socio-economic development. You see that accuracy, fairness, these are some of the professional norms and the values, right? So you have to be very accurate while reporting. You have to be very fair and objective and impartial. Although objectivity is also a contested concept here. We often say objectivity is a contested concept, but yet, I'll come to it, but yet we have to follow the objectivity, and how following those professional norms you can better contribute to socio-economic development. And that's what is the perspective of socio-democratic theory, an angle, socio-democratic theory. And then we have political economy approach, which we will be dealing with more. When you say political economy, it is more about the newsroom culture. So we have the integrated, converged newsroom. So how the newsroom operate? There are different kind of pressure, right? From this editorial pressure, financial pressure, you have the technological pressure, and then also the pressure from the own background and personality. That is the individual pressure of the journalist, source pressure. So lot of pressure will come into routine pressure. Okay, lot of pressure come into play a role in making and shaping a news piece. Okay, so that's the political economy angle. We will deal more with it. How newsroom culture actually help to decide the story angle, framing the story angle, and how ideologies, how biases also creep in. So whether you can simply think that you see that your moral authority will masking the ideology, because moral authority is also very important. So when I say moral authority, what do you think? What is your moral authority? What is your morality? You tell me, your personal morality. Tell me, what is your personal morality? Hannah, how do you perceive your personal morality? Or how do you perceive a journalist personal morality?
Present facts with no opinion.
Okay.
Present facts without a personal opinion.
Okay, to separate facts from opinion. That's a moral authority. Good. And anybody else would also contribute? How will you look into the moral authority of the journalist? So it's very important. Moral authority that determines the very profession. At the same time, seeking the truth is the moral authority, right? Exposing corruption is also moral authority. Letting people know the actual picture, the reality is also morality. Huh. Letting people know the truth is the morality. Right. Separating facts from the opinion is also morality. Protecting and safeguarding the human rights and freedom of expression is also a morality. That's a moral authority. So you need to know about moral authority so that you can claim for the rights and privileges, because those are also another contested domain in journalism. Most of the time is a contested domain, and hence, in order to know about your rights and privileges, you need to understand the moral authority that you have. Because journalistic profession is not something which is all about business. It's a mission also. So what will be the mission? And mission will serve the moral authority. Mission is serve the democracy and create a platform for the people to participate. Right? That's the mission of journalism. So you will create a platform for the people to participate. Mission is to inform people to be self-governing, so that people can be informed themselves, they can be informed decision maker, they can also govern themselves with the help of the information. That is also moral authority. Moral authority is to expose the corruption. This is very important. From the perspective of investigative journalism, which will have an equal claim in new media journalism, apart from entrepreneurial journalism, apart from you see watchdog journalism, interpretive journalism, community journalism, we will be dealing with different facets of journalism later on. So, investigative journalism is a very, focused area in new media journalism. So, you need to expose the corruption, you need to expose the wrongdoing of the government and holding the person in power, people in power accountable. That is also a kind of moral authority. Always making the facts separate from the opinion is also a kind of moral authority. But many a time, moral authority cannot be masked as the ideology. It happens when you actually understand journalism from those theoretical lenses, like from libertarian perspective, social democratic perspective, right? So without reducing your moral authority, you need to serve the socio-economic aims, socio-economic development. You need to contribute to even the welfare end of this society. When you talk about the welfareistic end, welfare is a different kind of it's a phenomenon, I'll say. It's what the concept is different from development concept. Okay, so you need to understand. I need to understand those concepts and how you can contribute to those ends is also very, very important. Then we also have the development specific role. So that is also highlighted by developmental journalism, where journalism is not merely a wing of those Western perspective of free praise or you see libertarian perspective, but rather journalism will contribute to nation building, contribute to development. So hence new media journalism also equivalent to community journalism. So we will also try to deal with entrepreneurial journalism, solution-oriented journalism, community journalism into it. Okay, and there is also a shift. Let me tell you, semantic shift. We call it semantic shift. Why semantic shift? Why do you understand? What do you understand by semantic? Language, right? It's a language shift. When you say language shift, what kind of language shift I'm talking of? Language of journalists. Who are journalists? Language of the whole profession, the news, right? Language of engagement has shifted. In this digital ecosystem, we get to see a tremendous changes in the language of journalists, because we don't call only the traditional mainstream practitioners journalists. Okay, here we also call the creators like influencers, YouTube, who are also having or possessing a YouTube channel. Okay, independent news portal, having an independent news portal or independent news business in a small scale, a journalist, we can call it. Each and every citizen who will contribute to making a news or making an informed decision, contribute to making a reader or taking reader an informed decision, will be called as citizen journalist, or you also see the digital native, or you might say digital first. Apart from the legacy media's digital wing. So here we will not be discussing only about the legacy media's digital wing. Okay, we will not be discussing about Indian Express Online, only about Indian Express Online and TV Online, Hindustan Times Digital. Okay, we will also be discussing about bio, scrolling, then you see Article 14, Caravan, okay, news laundry, which are very, very important. Digital first, news website, their role in the society and how they are functioning as a platform. Okay, it's very, very important. We'll have to go through those stories first. Okay, and hence initial lectures are very important prior to understanding the role of new media journalist and then actually working as a new media journalist. So having conceptual understanding is very, very important. Okay, as I have been telling you, that you might also look yourself as an entrepreneur in journalism. Someone may be a community journalist, someone may be an interpretative journalist, based on the kind of functions that journalism will serve. So tell me the kind of function journalism will serve, because uh, you have been learning journalism right from the very first semester, right? So what are the functions of journalism? Chinmay? Yeah, what are the functions of journalism? Tell me only one function. Huh? Who will tell me? Yeah? It's not see that? Yeah, say.
Informing the public about the current scenario of the country.
That's fine. Apart from that,
Being a fourth pillar of democracy, acting as a watchdog,
oh, that's mission. Yeah.
providing a platform for the oppressed.
Yes, yes. Right. So when you talk about the function, functions are different from mission. Aligned to mission, but when you say function of journalism, basically disseminating news. That's the function, right? Function, the basic function of journalism is to disseminate the news. Then to create a context, linking the facts together. So being an interpreter of the events and also the situation. That is also another function. Collaborative function is there. We call it collaborative mobilization. So journalists also serve as a soft power. Let me tell you, that is another dimension of new media journalism and even the traditional journalism. How journalists are serving as a soft power. Okay? So when you talk about the collaboration journalism, so you see the cross-border reporting is highly collaborative, because you need to exchange ideas with journalists across the border, and you need to collaborate with them. So that collaborative angle is very, very important. Collaborate. Okay. And another angle of collaborative function is also mobilization of opinion. Mobilization of opinion, here the role of dissent will also come. Okay, so mobilization of opinion and role of dissent. Journalistic role is also many a time, let me tell you, romanticized with revolution. But I don't want to do so. But yes, journalist has also a role in manufacturing dissent rather than covering dissent. Let me tell you, these are two different things. Manufacturing dissent and covering dissent. The way journalists can also manufacturing consent. We have that Noam Chomsky's and Chomsky's famous that propaganda model. It actually talks about political economy of the newsroom, how ideology, how facts, how elite sources will determine the news outcome, right? And hence, it is important also to understand that uh, journalists can manufacture dissent. Even if you talk about the journalists during colonial India, you talk about Keshari, Maratha, Keshari, Young India, Harijan by Gandhi and by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Then we talk about Amrit Prajapatrika. These are some of the revolutionary chronicles. They actually manufacture dissent. Okay, they help to manufacture the dissent, so it has a role of creating the dissent. Right, not necessarily that journalist has to be very objective. All kinds of journalism has to be very objective, because objectivity is also a very contested phenomenon. Yeah, it's a very tension-prone phenomenon. So when you talk about the objectivity, so we also see what kind of objectivity you are talking about when we report climate changes, when we report about the development, because how will you deal with that objectivity when you report about development? How will you deal with objectivity when you report about climate change? Because you cannot balance. You cannot balance. Somewhere you need to be biased. Right, so there is a false objectivity there, I'll say. Hence, it is also a contested dimension. Somewhere advocacy is necessary, right? Somewhere dissent is also necessary. So, journalist role are diverse here. So, collaborative function is also mobilizing public opinion and mobilizing dissent at the same time. It is also create a forum for debate and discuss issues. So journalism will create a forum that has actually brought from the very theory, public sphere theory. Public sphere theory, Habermas's public sphere theory, that journalists will create a forum for debate, discussion of the issues, and at times journalists will become a devil's advocate. So we get to find the role of Arnab Goswami as a devil's advocate, but he is not actually. But initially, when I came into these professions, we used to find Arnab Goswami as a devil's advocate. But nowadays, he has reduced his journalism a lot because he is basically a propagandist, according to me. So, like that, here you will see that you need to understand different functions of journalism as a disseminator, as an interpreter, as a collaborator, as a mobilization of opinion, as a forum, okay, as an agenda setter to tell people what is important, what to think. So this is very, very important because there are numerous issues. So the ideology of that organization and ideology of the journalist will determine which issue is important. Let me tell you. Okay, hence personal biases, backgrounds will also come while reporting a story. Let me tell you. Hence, there is nothing like objectivity. According to me, there is no objectivity. Although we talk of objectivity, and objectivity is simply to solve the commercial intent of that paper, who reduces some of the controversial claims and all. But there is nothing like objectivity because the background of the journalist, the affiliation of the newsroom will always, intervene in terms of reporting a story. Hence, journalist role are very important, and you also see you might have heard of the word called journalism. Journalism and journalism. Have you heard the word journalism? CERN. What is that journalism? Okay, I'll write.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
I think it has to do with churning of horrible stories.
Sorry.
Churning of horrible stories.
Yeah, to a certain extent that yes. When you talk about journalism, you are trying to take the definition from the very word, right? Like that, British journalist Nick Davis actually came up with this word called journalism, which is opposite to journalism. Journalism is a low verified, basically that's a low verified content which will generate more clickbait and also maximize the traffic. So that means journalism are those content which are being recycled, which are being reproduced. Okay, so some of the content you see, journalism situation came in, um, even you see after the yellow journalism has started. So it is not a kind of new phenomenon. It has been there since long. So if you actually understand the history of journalism, I'll come to it. If you understand the history of journalism, you will see that how it has come. It started with those handwritten bulletins, right? We call Acta Diurna. Journalism started with the handwritten bulletin during the Roman period. We had the handwritten bulletin, right? And after the handwritten bulletin, we had that court gazettes. In China, we had the court gazettes. And then we also have some of the newsletters which are being used during medieval period. Okay, among the merchant, those newsletters were used. So if you actually understand the history, so right from the handwritten bulletin They knew Port Gadget in China. They knew talk about what this newsletter. Okay, newsletter among the merchant, among the traders, and then we will move to those 15th, 17th century, that Renaissance period. We talk about the Gutenberg days, right? The publications 1440, that we usually say the publication first begun, right? So thereafter again we continue with a kind of state propaganda. So you see the kind of changes in the journalism, the trajectory of journalism over the years. Then you actually see the changes in the state propaganda. Journalists become the mouthpiece of the state propaganda, and that happened till 19th century. Okay, till 19th century, journalism worked as a mouthpiece of state propaganda. Okay, then you see in 1830 we get to find the penny press. Journalists actually came from the bounds of government and state propaganda. They started looking for mass circulation. Like they're looking for mass circulation and cheap circulation. And how can they attain it? They can get it, they can attain it through advertising. They started selling readers to advertisers and then stories to readers. This is a kind of two market theory they brought here, that they will uh, buy advertising space and accordingly they will also earn revenue. Okay, so big companies invested in advertising, even some big trustees and also wealthy people, they also invested in advertising. In that way, they earned the revenue. So that started in 1830. That was a penny press. That milestone is very important because from that we actually see mass circulation of papers, now mass circulation of journalistic piece. Okay, beyond the state propaganda. Before penny press, journalists were the server of state propaganda, not server of the nation, because they simply disseminate the propaganda of the state. Okay, and then after penny press, we get to find another era that is called yellow journalism. So penny press came in 1830. So I'll draw the timeline. Then after penny press, we have this is called yellow journalism era. You have heard about Joseph Pulitzer, right? Joseph Pulitzer. Have you heard about this William Hearst? So Pulitzer and Hearst, they they own two papers. One is New York World and New York Journal. So both of them create a competition. They created a competition in terms of getting mass circulation through their coverage. Okay, so through their coverage, they are trying to have mass circulation. And what kind of coverage? Spanish and American war. So there is a Cuban invasion, and during the Cuban invasion, they usually make very sensational headlines. And even you also see that the reporters, they said that you give me pictures, I will give you the dimension of the story. In fact, journalists, it is also told that this Spanish-American war was caused by journalists through reporting. That happened in 1898. And that was the beginning of yellow journalism era. Okay, then we get to find in 1912 there are bodies, emerging bodies. Emerging bodies in the sense association, journalistic association came in that they defined the standard for journalism, association and club of journalism. They try to define a standard because they have already seen that journalism, the main role of journalism, the mission of journalism has been reduced a lot. It can't serve the society, it can't serve the nation, and hence they come up with a kind of standards and code of ethics which a journalist needs to follow. It came in 1912 across the world. Right. And after 1912, we actually see from 1920 to 1980, we have a broadcast era. In broadcast era, we got to find the importance of visual journalism. Importance of visuals. We also have Vietnam War. So Vietnam War was covered by the journalist, but while covering, it was not even controlled. So people You see the audiences and viewers, they do have a chance to see uh, unbiased way the picture of the footage. And thereafter, after 80, we actually see the rise of digital media journalism. And there is also another word you might also see. This is not a Gulf war that came in 1991. Already digital journalism era has started in 1990, and in 1991 we have the Gulf War. And in Gulf War, you actually see the journalism is again being controlled. How journalism is being controlled? Journalism is being controlled by pull system. There are pool of reporters. They will decide. You might also say them. You can name them as gatekeepers. They will decide which story to go. They'll filter down the footages, and they also generate some of the highly sanitized video game related footages of bombing and explosion, which were also being broadcast. But everything is controlled. So we call it a CNN effect. So 24 into CNN effects of Gulf War in 1991. Okay, so you see that over the years the role of journalism has been changed. Now we move to this journalism. What is journalism? Journalism is all about reproducing the information of the government, PR material, reproducing the press releases. You don't have to do the original reporting. So instead of doing the original reporting, ground reporting, you will reproduce, you will rewrite what is there in the press release, what is there in the PR material. So this is called journalism. Okay, so you will not do any kind of original ground reporting. Suppose you see that there is a report called one celebrity is arrested. Some celebrity is being arrested. You got the report from somewhere else. There is a source which has disseminated, maybe reliable source has disseminated that news. You say news that one celebrity has been arrested. So how you could look it from journalism perspective and journalism perspective. From journalism perspective, if we have to look at the news, you will first go and check the police record, where to find out the veracity of the report, whether it's true or not that the celebrity is being arrested or not. Then you will make a call to the personal representative of the celebrity to find out the veracity of the truth again. Then you will do some independent investigation to understand the truth and veracity of the story. Right? That is called journalism. How journalism will be different? Because journalism will reproduce the same story because source is given, source is reliable. Okay, it will generate more click. It will also have exaggerated headlines and create a sensation. So it will generate more traffic to my platform. So okay, well and good. I will publish it. So reproducing, recycling the existing news without having the veracity check. Okay, even if there is a claim, suppose there is a policy, government policy said that 50,000 households have got the benefits, and without having a verification of the claim that government has made, you simply write down that according to press release government and according to so and so policy, 50,000 households have got the benefit of the policy. That's a journalism. But journalism will say that we will actually see whether the claim which made by the government, I'm talking about the government, not each and every report and press release is also reliable, let me tell you. You will actually find out whether the number they claim is right or not, correct or not. You will go do some ground reporting, then you will present the fact. So that's how journalism is different from journalism. It is all about recycling the existing information. Journalism is all about recycling the existing information. And it is also news desert. This is another term, news desert. What is news desert? Let me tell you. News desert. News desert. So news desert scenario. And yours Yeah. Actually, but I don't think because it's easy. So I have a practical class, but as I've told you, that things are not yet decided. Okay, so I have to.
So actually, this is already so you extend
I'll finish it. I'll finish it. I want to explain because I want to. So it's not where this is the concept. So where okay, I'll not write down the timeline. So where there is a doubt of local sources. So I don't have a local source to report on local issues. So there is a little or no local sources to give you a report, understanding of the local event and local scenario. You might also see that because of the you see the state pressure or other forces, they used to kill the local sources. So in our locality, there is no local railway station, no local newspaper to report about the municipal corruption, corruption of the town panchayat, and even to scrutinize the funds, the way it is being generated, and also to report about the community, report about the school, report about the healthcare facilities of that community and the locality. Is a situation called news result. So when you talk about news result situation, so it's all about no news kind of scenario. Little or no news sources. No local news sources, let me tell you. It's not like mainstream. No local news sources or little news sources available. Local news sources are available. So there are different factors because of which this news result situation usually arise. And hence we are talking about the community journalism, which is also important to understand. It's a part of aspect, very crucial aspect of new media journalism. Okay. So you need to know about this concept. What I have discussed today about the nation, which as a journalistic nation, right? And journalistic nation always mask the ideology from a critical point of view. It can also mask the ideology as a moral authority, let me tell you. That is the very critical side. Are you getting what I mean to say? Moral authority of journalist is very important. My moral authority as a journalist or a profession if I'm holding is very important. Profession I'm possessing. But when we are talking about masking my ideology, as moral authority is different. Now, what may be the ideologies of a journalist and how ideology will penetrate? These are like some of the very important aspects you need to understand when you talk about the nation, apart from the business and the profession. Okay? So ideology will actually help you to understand a story better. Like you see, there are different issues like you talk about waging, increasing, not decreasing wage of the people. Okay, you can also talk about inflation, rise of inflation, and there are issues related to government increased spending. There are issues related to corporate tax reduction. Okay, and there are issues related to unemployment. Okay, so now ideology will determine which story you will actually pick, right? And how you will frame the story, what will be the language, okay? Whose voice will be omitted, whose voice will be given prominence, right? And how will you separate facts from the opinion? Suppose there is an issue that I will take the issue corporate tax cut. Corporate tax cut, there is a tax reduction of the corporation. So if my ideology is libertarian ideology, free place ideology, so I will look at from this angle called economic freedom, corporate takes that has led to or resulted economic freedom. From social democratic perspective, if I will have to look at the story, then what I look at that Descartes for the corporate has created more social inequalities. By giving the leverage to establish hotel, buildings, and especially economic zones you have created, and you have been like exempted them from giving even the tax. So it has created social inequality from socio-economic dimension. And so it's more about how you frame the story, and that comes from the ideology, the kind of ideology that you have. Suppose the issues related to immigration is a very serious issue, right? Issues related to immigration. So you can also look at issues related to immigration from humanitarian point of view, from the aspect of human rights, the kind of discrimination the refugees immigrants are being facing, and also the protection of the refugees, protection of the immigrants, and also protection of their human rights. That may be one angle. Another angle from the national security, from the sovereignty perspective, and also from the perspective of uh, they creating a pressure on our economy or economic burden. So that depends upon your ideology again. Okay. So when we talk about your ideology, it will help to frame a story better. But when ideology, suppose I have my ideology, and if I think that my ideology is the purest form, and others' ideology are based on only hatred, okay, then somehow I am masking my ideology as moral authority. So therein my subjectivity and biases may creep in. Are you getting? Okay. So everybody has their ideology, and it's very important to have your own ideology. Hmm. And it's very important also, along with the ideology, to have the soft skill in journalism. When we are talking about the soft skill, what are the soft skill, important soft skill? Empathy, interview. You need to interview. Empathy is very, very important soft skill for a journalist, right? Then you also navigation under pressure. It's a very important soft skill for a journalist. You need to navigate through under pressure. So you need to work under pressure. Hmm. So I'll give you some examples. You also need to have the cultural sensitivity. That's a very important soft skill. Cultural sensitivity, because in India you have 22 languages, so there will be code switching. You have to be very sensitive to languages of people. You have to be sensitive to ethnicity of the people. You have to be very sensitive to the religion of the people. Okay. So in a multilingual, in a frontier state like Assam, this is also very, very important. And in terms of India, it's a pluralist state. So it's more important to have a cultural sensitivity. So be very sensitive to religion, sensitive to caste, sensitive to one ethnicity is very, very important. Sensitive to gender at the same time. Because that will determine how you will frame the story. Because many times this is also a claim came from the very oriented journalist. They are very unrepresentative of the population they serve. Journalists are very unrepresentative of the population they serve. What do you understand by that? And when it can be possible that you are not representative of the population you are serving? When it can happen? It can happen when your background differs. But then also you can prove that no, you are wrong. I am very much representative because I have done the ground study. Okay. P. Sainath, rural reporter, he has invested years in rural reporting. He has acquired that credibility, right? And he has also reported many caste-based issues. He is a Brahmin. Again, he has reported against the caste-based atrocities and also discrimination. So years of investment in rural areas. Okay, so it's important for a journalist to be representative of the population that you cover, and that is also very important soft skill. Soft skill. This is a soft skill related to cultural sensitivity. Interviewing under a very conflict situation. You talk about the war journalism and all in Manipur. In Manipur, so it's burning. So you have to get access to the people who are reluctant to give you opinion and advice. You have to navigate through the pressure. That's very important. How will you navigate the pressure? Navigate through the pressure. That you need the story. You also see there is a conflict on situation. Your life is at stake, and you also need to get access to an official and a community who are reluctant to give you bites and interview. Soft skill is important, right? And soft skill are also equivalent to even this. We see it's important when you talk about the soft power. Journalists reporting about Assam flood, trying to raise international sympathy, national sympathy, international sympathy, and also help in getting AIDS, humanitarian AIDS, is a kind of soft power role of journalist. You need to understand this. So whenever somebody asks you, you need to tell, okay, this is the soft power role. Right, cross-border reporting is a part of soft power role. When we talk about WION, World is One News, that is created by G News. That's a G News international edition. World is One News. We have DD India, and we have all the NDTV International. They are also trying to create an image, positive image about India. That's a part of soft power. There are also OTT. There are OTT platforms. There are other important channels in the among the diaspora community. They are trying to create an image about India. They also helped in nation building and reputation capital. We call it building reputation capital of the nation. Okay. So that's a soft power governance. Okay. So I'll leave today. Okay, purely. So in the next class we will be discussing more, and until and unless we have this quarter ready, so you have to listen to those lectures. And let me tell you, we'll have a this thing we call it Google Classroom. So I'll share the code. Okay, so you will join. All of you will join. But the thing is that until and unless all of you actually come here and I will see your faces, I will not upload the videos. Okay. So because I need to see you, and in a class, I don't know, you have come now. Why have you come now after the period is over? Okay. So be very serious about the classes. So that's what I can at best expect from you. Okay, because in order to make our news portal successful, you have to be very serious. Okay, this is all for today. And what for evening, as you have asked me, there is a practical class in the evening. I might have to take another class for digital media literacy, which I'm teaching. I'm instructing for English department students. So there will be class during that time. So you decide your date. Meanwhile, I'll also share the course outline with you. Somebody will take the hard copy. Somebody will come and take the hard copy. I'll share the course outline. So you'll go through. So there are units like we will say city reporting, fashion, technology reporting, political reporting, economic reporting. You decide your bit. You can take 2-3 bits at a time. You decide or which bit you will prefer, and you will mail me or WhatsApp.
This is individual, right?
It's individual. Yeah, it's individual. So we'll also have a WhatsApp group. So please create a WhatsApp group, New Media Journalism group, where you will let me know your name. Against your name, you will write down your preferred beat.
Will you share with
Yeah, I'll share. I'll share the course outline. Okay. So there is a unit. I forgot whether it's third unit or fourth unit. There are some beats I have put: city reporting, economic reporting, financial reporting. You have the science and technology reporting. You will have the political reporting. So different beats are there. So you'll pick health reporting, development reporting are there. So you'll pick your favorable beats. So it may be more than one. Okay, that you will do. Fine? Okay. Thank you.